Hello, Paul. Can you hear me? I see Paul is here. And Yosemite Sam, Mushroom Hill, happy summer solstice. Same to you. Hello, Old Nasty. How does this look? It looks kind of, doesn't look so hot on my screen here. Hello, Rich. Ooh, that's not good. If I were to... Playing with the light over here, trying to make this thing look better. Yeah, so it looks dark. Because this, I've got a computer screen that's blocking all the light. So usually have a light blasting over here, but this computer is blocking all of it. So I would need lights coming from the side. Let's see here. Now, I want to let you guys know that I've had a cold for the past week, so it's still lingering. So you might see me blowing my nose or sneezing. So just bear with me. If I get sniffly, that'll be immortalized on this live stream. People can watch it 10 years from now. Hello, Circus Peanut. Jimmy Kitty, hello. Thank you, Old Nasty. Thank you. Okay, so with that being said, yeah, I really look quite bad, but that's how it goes. Hello, BJG Chuck. Billy, he was here a second ago. I saw him peeking out over there. Maybe I'll come over here. So if I don't know if my voice sounds weird, that's why. I'm sick. I've had this over a week, still lingering. Yeah, I hope Billy pops up on the table. That would be nice. I'm sure everyone would like to see him. But he's probably a little spooked. Like, why am I talking? No one's here. Who am I talking to? Well, so, oh, hello from Washington State. Oh, Dr. Tofelgeist? Or is it Tufelgeist? Have I seen the McFarlane DC Multiverse Frankenstein? I think I saw a picture of it, but I don't remember exactly what it looks like, but I think I did see a picture of it. Hello, Dwight. Well, everything, I guess it's been going well except for me being sick the last week. That's not going well. How about the NECA Dracula accessory set? Yeah, that looks cool. All of the NECA accessory sets look very nice that I've seen so far. I don't have any of them. Haven't bought any of them. Um, if I were going to buy one, I think I'd buy the Mummy. I know I'm not going to buy all of them. If I buy one, I'll buy the Mummy. I probably will buy the Bride of Frankenstein because you have to. I guess they're not going to sell the Bride version of Karloff separately, so you have to buy them in the chair. So if that's the case, I guess I'll be buying that one. They all look nice, and I like that at least from what I understand, the Dracula figure. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he does fit inside the coffin. I know there's one of those really expensive, like those $200 figures. There's a big figure of Bela's Dracula that has a coffin, and he doesn't really fit in the coffin. He kind of sort of does, but not comfortably, not the way you want him to. So I hope that the NECA one comfortably fits in that coffin like you want him to. Everything looks the way it should. Paul, you've been enjoying the content in the Facebook group. Well, thank you. I hope I don't contribute to a lot of the content in the Facebook group. Well, thank you. I hope I don't contribute to a lot of the content in the Facebook group. I'm hoping that the members in the Facebook group are active and contribute to that content because that's what it's for. It's really not a place for me to post stuff. It's a place for all of you to post stuff. Ah, Brian, how am I feeling? I'm still that cold is still lingering. You can probably hear it in my voice and see it in my face. And like I told everyone, I got tissues handy here. Bah, bah. So it's still still has a hold of me. Um, it's been a week now. I still have it. Oh, you're over yours. How many days did it take for you to get over yours? See, I think I caught this from Brian over the internet. 7 days. Yeah, it's been about 7 days for me. So it should be going away. Maybe the US version of it is more aggressive than the Canadian version, which is the case with a lot of things, I think. A lot of things, the US version is more aggressive than the Canadian version. Hello, Mick. Awesome. What's awesome? It's awesome that you're here, Mick. You ordered two NECA Glow Creature. Oh, those are out. See, I figured that was such a hopeless situation. I didn't even bother to take note of when they were going to go on sale. I figured I'll just have to pay up for one secondhand. But so those NECA creatures are available now. Thanks, Mick. My channel. I appreciate that. Okay. So Yosemite. So as far as you know, are those creatures still available? Do they sell out fast, or because I'll after I'm done here, I'll go check, and if there's if they're still there, I'll buy one. Mick, thank you very much. And old nasty, you hate NECA shipping. It's too much. Well, if it's too much, I don't know. If it gets to you in one piece and they ship it well, they pack it well, I appreciate that. I'd rather pay a little more for shipping and have it actually get to me unmolested than have cheaper shipping and then it's something's damaged or it's not right when it arrives. Brian, the Super 7. I mean the cyborg one. I don't think I'm gonna buy that. I mean, I wouldn't disparage it. It's cool. If that interests you, I can see why people would be excited by that. I probably won't buy it. I think I think some people have more of a connection to the Henshin cyborg and they're into that. I think if you're into that, I think you're more excited about this creature. If you're more like a traditionalist, like I am, I don't know if it has the same resonance. Like my first thought when I saw it was that it was like the Visible Man, Visible Woman model kits, which it really isn't. It's a cyborg. Um, so it was cool, but I didn't get I wasn't like, oh, I've got to have that. I think if I were into the Japanese toys, I would be more excited about it and think, oh, what a great idea. As it is, I don't know. I mean, once they're out and people have them, and I might see it and say, oh yeah, I've got to have one of those. But right now, I wasn't. I'm more interested in getting the NECA creatures than this Super 7 one. I mean, it's cool, but I think you got to be more into the. Am I pronouncing it right? The Henshin cyborg. I think if you're into that, it's got a lot more meaning to you. Mick, do you frequent the UMA? No, I don't. I mean, every once in a while, I check. Really, a few times a year, I will go there, but it's mostly for research. I want to see like something I posted. I remember I talked about a certain thing, and I did some research at the time before I posted. So instead of redoing all of that, let me just see what did I post 10 years ago, because I probably instead of spending hours trying to research a topic that I already researched, let me see what did I post back in 2008. And so I'll go there to find my post, and I say, oh yeah, I remember now. So it's more like to refresh my memory about things that I posted. Yeah, I don't go there for social interaction. I just go there every now and then to check on old posts, really looking for information. Thanks, Sam. I don't. Well, I mean, but you were able to pre-order that thing tonight, right? So you don't have to be sitting there at 11 o'clock. Yeah, I don't know. I might just take my chances with it. I don't think I'm going to set my alarm or something to. If I get it, I get it. Mick, it's a 2012 Monsterpalooza. I remember that. Oh, Mrs. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember this. Okay. We don't need to go into the details, but I think I know what you're talking about. Am I right? Mrs. Dead 13. Uh yeah, I think I know. I remember you and her and in that situation. Yeah. So I mean, maybe I'm misremembering. Let me just say you were done wrong. Let me just put that out there. If the situation I'm thinking of is what you're talking about, that I didn't like that whole situation. Yeah, I feel for you. I did not like that. I was aware of it. And I did not like it. So I know who I'm talking to. Yes, I wouldn't have if you hadn't brought that up. But now you got the old ticker working now. So it sounds like there's a lot of excitement about these creatures, the Super 7 creature and the NECA creature. And this McFarlane, is it McFarlane or McFarlane? I think it's McFarlane. And this DC Frankenstein. So is there anything else out there now that you're interested in? New stuff. Keep in mind, I'm more into the old stuff, but I do keep an eye on the new stuff. I buy some of it, but I'm not like, I don't buy every new thing that comes out. Earl, thank you. Yeah, NECA's doing a great job on the Universal Monsters. I haven't been unhappy with any of the ones they put out. The sculpts are excellent, and they've managed to get the articulation right without interfering with the sculpt, and accessories are nice, packaging is nice. I mean, it does seem like Sideshow 2.0, Sideshow the next generation, taking it a step further. I do gravitate more towards figures with cloth costumes. I wish NECA would have put out, I mean, it's nice they're putting out the Ultimates. I wish they would also put out Mego style figures. Maybe they'll do that, but besides these Universal figures, I don't collect NECA Ultimates. I collect their what I think they call them, the retro cloth line, the Mego style line, the costumes. I collect those. I didn't really own any Ultimates until they started doing these Universal ones. Then I had to get those. Soft goods, yes. I'm a soft goods person. It doesn't feel complete if it doesn't have soft goods. Yeah, Joe, I mentioned that Frankenstein. So it looks like to get the bride style Frankenstein, you've got to get the accessory set. It comes, they don't sell the Frankenstein separately. You have to get him in the chair if you want him. And if you want to display him with the bride, you've got to get that Frankenstein, because by now I think most monster people know that the bride version of the Frankenstein monster has a unique look, and at least to me, it doesn't quite look right if it isn't the correct Frankenstein standing next to the bride. Let me see here. Sam, Mego Creepshow. Pretty cool. I'm very glad Mego made that and that they're getting into the Creepshow license. I didn't buy it. I might buy it eventually, but I sort of took a break from Mego over the past several months. And I can't get everything. So, and when NECA started coming out with that stuff, I said, I can't spread myself so thin. I'm going to temporarily just focus on one thing. I'm going to buy these NECA figures. There's so many different things coming out. But I might catch up to that. Some of the latest Mego offerings. I have to say, with the Detonate Mego, something about that head, or it doesn't quite nail it for me. I'm interested in seeing what the creep looks like. I think whether they have just a head for it, right? So I'm interested in seeing that figure, and hopefully maybe if I buy that, then I'll go back. I'll buy Nate as well. The casket puzzles. Hold on a second, guys. Excuse me. And if you're coming in late, I'm sick. Got a cold. Where was it about the HG? So HG Toys, yes. I still have my childhood money from that casket line. In fact, if I had a frame or something, I'd probably hang it up as part of the show. It's assembled, and I think it's on some kind of a paper backing that when I was a kid I glued it. So I still have my HG mummy puzzle from childhood, and I don't own any of the boxed ones. I'd like to. Yeah, it's one of those things. One of these days I'll buy them, but I like those quite a bit. There's the Mummy, there's a Frankenstein. I think there's a Dracula, and then there's a Mr. Hyde that's a little bigger than the other ones. And I like the packaging. The coffin boxes are really cool, and the pictures are cool because they're not universal. They're that interesting 70s generic monster look that you know. I'm not too big on generic monsters today because the look doesn't quite have that same personality. But 1970s generic monsters are really cool, like the Lincoln monsters, great example. But also those HG Toys puzzles, another great example of uh, how generic monsters had a really cool personality in the 1970s. Loose Collector just released action figures of Red Sonja, Vampirella, and so Old Nasty are talking about a lot of I guess they're custom female uh, pulp characters, and I'm sure you're aware of the Tourist Satana figure that Brian's company put out. So that would go right along with the ones you're talking about there, if you're into those. He recently bought the Jada Next Level Bela. Oh yeah, I know about that one. Yeah, I haven't been buying the Jada figures. I bought the first ones that came out, and I haven't bought the later ones. Like I said, I've been focusing. If I'm going to buy a monster toy right now, it's going to be NECA because those are expensive enough. I don't have hundreds of dollars to spend on all these different things, so I've decided, okay, I'm going to get these NECA toys. But like Jada, Super 7, Mego, there's other things too. There's a lot out there. I gotta be selective because I just can't buy everything. Mego Planet of the Apes. I never collected them. I had them as a kid. I had all of them as a kid. I had tons of them as a kid. As an adult, I don't think I ever bought a carded Mego Planet of the Apes figure. I did. I was collecting Mego before I was collecting monsters. When I started as a toy collector, uh, yeah, I was immediately into monsters. But my two big things were Doctor Who and Mego superheroes. In like 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, those early years of toy collecting, I was really focused on that. And I amassed a Mego collection that today would be like a legendary collection if I still had it. I had a fantastic packaged Mego superhero collection, which all by like mid 90s, it was all gone. I collected it all and I sold it or traded it for monster stuff. I decided, okay, I'm a monster collector. Get rid of these superheroes. Goodbye. And I just replaced it all with monster stuff. But I had a lot of cool, but not Planet of the Apes. I focused on the superheroes, and I had a pretty good mint and package Mego superhero collection for a few years. Let's see here. Hi, Rob. You'd like to get an affordable Mr. Barlow. That would be good. I don't know if Mego would make Mr. Barlow, but then you wouldn't have thought Mego would make Creepshow, and they are. But I think there's a push for Creepshow this past year. I think whoever owns that IP marketed it to retail or to toy manufacturers. I think there was some kind of a push to get that license out. No one's pushing Salem's Lot. So unfortunately, maybe I don't know what the anniversary would be for Salem's Lot, and that might be a year when perhaps someone would do something. It's a stretch. I could kind of see Mego making a Mr. Barlow, maybe sort of. I mean, they've done figures I wouldn't have thought they would do, so they might do that. NECA, yeah, that's more their thing. I don't know. I like Mr. Barlow. I'd be interested in an affordable Mr. Barlow. Jiren, thank you. Well, I haven't been doing well this past week, but I hope I'm doing well sooner. Brian, yeah, that accessory for the detonate. That is fantastic. I love the head. That puts it all together. Here's frankly, if I didn't know me would put out that toy, and you didn't have the head, and you just showed me the figure and said, "Hey Ray, what do you think of this?" I'd assume it was a zombie or something. I'd say, "Oh, that's cool." I wouldn't immediately. I'd assume it was a zombie or something. I'd say, "Oh, that's cool." I wouldn't immediately say, "Oh, it's creep show." When you put the head in there, and then of course, oh yeah, that creep show. Uh, so I do wish they had tweaked that head a little bit. I mean, you say that the process it went through obscured some of the detail. That's probably true. Well, I wish they hadn't done that. I wish it looked a little more like the movie character because he Nate has a specific look, um, and I don't quite see it, but I'm glad they made it. It's better they made it than didn't make it, and that head is really cool. Yeah, Rich about Renfield. I'm kind of a I don't know. I don't like it when lines get out of hand, when there's so many different figures, you just can't collect them all, and it becomes a drag, and it starts to feel like work. Like, oh, another one, I gotta buy this. I mean, this is the 50th figure. Ugh. I like. I feel like this starts to get kind of tacky when a line gets too big. I think it's more tasteful to have a selection where you've got the main characters everyone expects, that maybe you throw in a couple of deep cuts that people don't expect, that maybe someone hasn't done before, and a couple of supporting characters, and then there's your line. I don't want every character. I don't necessarily Maliva from Wolfman or whatever. I don't need that. Renfield is a pretty important character, and I don't think he's been done before. Uh, or Sideshow, I know they did a Dwight Fry, but did they do Renfield? Did they do Fritz from Frankenstein, or did they do them both? I don't remember. Uh, I know they did at least one Dwight Fry figure in the larger size, not the small size. So yeah, okay, I can see Renfield, but I wouldn't want them to get too carried away with every little side character or supporting character. Then I then feel like it's getting out of hand. Mick, Lincoln Monsters or Ahai? What's your favorite? Uh, I'm gonna say the Azrak Hamway monsters are my favorite. As a kid, I think they meant more to me growing up. Although I love the Lincolns too, but I feel like I love them both. But I think the Azrak Hamway figures edged the Lincoln figures out a little bit. It's a hard choice. I love them both. Also, the Azrak Hamway series has that creature, which Lincoln doesn't have because it's Lincoln's a generic set. Oh wow, it's hard to breathe. Ugh. Thank you, Brian. Mick, the toy show at Machinist Hall, is it worth attending for finding monster toys? As long as Andy Williams is setting up, it is. If he's not there, then I'm not too sure. Uh, Andy sits up there most of the time. He's got a great selection. There, you'll find some stuff, but you're not going to go find Lincolns or Ahai or Tomland or I don't know. You might find like those HG puzzles. There might be one or two of those. But Andrew Williams, his table will have the monster stuff. He'll bring the monster stuff, but if he's not there, he usually is there. But if he's not there, then I don't know. Yes, Brian. I've heard you talk about your origin, and I think we do have some similarities. Was it Joe? You live on NECA of Igor and Murder Legendre. Yeah, I'd like Igor because he doesn't really get his due. Sideshow did make a little Igor. They should have made a big one. Yeah, it'd be nice to have Igor. I mean, he's a main character. Murder Legendre, he's not universal, and it's kind of weird that NECA seems to be NECA seems to be uh, mixing some non-universal characters with the universal ones. Oh wow, I can't breathe. Sorry, guys. No editing on the live stream. I do stuff like that on my show, but I cut it out. Let's see here. Yeah, Myrtle Legendre. So NECA, aren't they doing like the Man in the Beaver hat? But that's not universal. So I don't know. That might make Murder. I know there's a new 12-inch Murder, and he's not. The costume's not very good. A friend of mine got the big one, and I didn't like the. He didn't like either the cape, and the hat wasn't right, and so the wardrobe just wasn't right. The head was nice. Let's see. Amy, where's the kitty cat? He was here, and he might show up. He's probably scared because I don't usually sit here and talk. But well, here's the thing. I've got this computer that's never here unless I'm doing this, and he's probably wondering what's going on with this. Why is this computer here? So it might be freaking him out, but he might show up. Wrath. Saicho did both Fritz and Renfield. Thank you for that clarification. So we have had at least the 12-inch Fritz. We've had Fritz. And we've had Igor. So all in all, we've been pretty well served. It's strange we haven't had an official Pretorius or an official Henry Frankenstein. You'd think we would have had one of those. We had a K from Creature from the Black Lagoon, but she wasn't posable. Let's see here. Can you someday, this is Mick, can you someday do an interview with Tom Stockman? Yeah, I could. He does sell at Machinist Hall. Yeah, so I have not been to his new house. It's smaller. He does still have a collection, and he has it displayed. It's not like I was at his old house several times, and I saw the big display. I have not been to his new place. I don't know if it's a house or an apartment. I have not. I understand he does still have things on display. It's a smaller display, but he has things on display. I would like to do some interview episodes. I like to get to Tom. I like to get to Andy. I like to get up to the Chicago area and talk to a couple of friends in that area who have very nice collections. And I don't know how much broader I can go with my non-existent budget, but I mean, if I could go to like Los Angeles or someplace, there's all kinds of people around the country where I could go and visit their collections and do little collector's corner type episodes. It'd be nice. It is something I've thought about. Thank you, George. Yeah, I wasn't going to cancel this. I only do it once a year. So it's like whatever happens, happens. If I'm healthy or sick or whatever, that's it. So, Michael, you say, Mike, what do you think of NECA Phantom? So are you asking Mike that question? Or are you saying this is Mike and this is your question? What do I think of NECA Phantom? I haven't seen it in person, but the photos look great. And the animation they did look fantastic with him at the organ and making the chandelier fall and being all fiendish and strangling a person. They went pretty hard on that. So I really like the animation they did. Do you know if the vintage Planet of the Apes jigglers were official? Are you talking about the Ben Cooper? They did 2 Planet of the Apes jigglers, Ben Cooper. And those are definitely official. Yeah, they're licensed 20th Century Fox, and I do have them. Yes. George, by the way, Brent's Toys has an awesome 8-inch Barlow. Oh, yes. I used to have the 12-inch Barlow from Distinctive Dummies. I sold it. Mick, I'm too shy to show my monster collection on YouTube. Instagram, no problem. Okay, yeah, I guess Instagram's just still photos. Sam, you're saying NECA, Glow Dracula, and Phantom will have vinyl capes. So have they announced that, or are you saying they should have that? I haven't seen any photos of Glow Dracula or Glow Phantom. I think it would be nice if they did give them vinyl capes like the Remcos. I will say about the NECA Glow series, I hope they don't go outside those 6 that Remco did. I think since there's the whole idea is that they're revisiting the Remco series, I think they should just keep it to those 6 characters Remco made. I think it waters it down if they start bringing in other characters. Oh, well, I got to look at this creature card back then. That'd be interesting to see what that style of figure looks like with a vinyl cape. I'll be interested in taking a look at that. Well, what are people doing with your summer? I'm not doing much. I'm doing what you see here. Ah, spilled water on myself. Haven't gone on vacation or traveled anywhere. I can't really go too far because I have to give Billy medicine twice a day. So I'm not. I don't feel good about going out of town. Yeah, I'd like to do. I'd like to go to horror cons, but it's expensive. Paul's reading and swimming. I've never been a swimming kind of person myself. Um, yeah. So I like Mask Fest. Is a lot of my friends are going to Mask Fest. And then there's this Migo meet, and I don't know. A few other, I mean, they just did a Wonder Fest a couple weeks ago with the Rondo Awards. I'd be nice to go to some of these things, but it costs money to have the hotel, and if it's far enough, you have to fly. Well, that's money, or to rent a car, and then I'm concerned about my cat, who's gonna give him the medicine. Uh, he probably would be okay for 48 hours, but I wouldn't want to leave. I wouldn't want to go away for a week. I know there are people you can hire to come give your cat medicine, but cat sitters. Well, not really cat sitters. They're like a cat nurse that can come and give your cat medicine. But I can just imagine Billy hiding, and the person would have to spend an hour trying to find him. It would stress him out, and so I feel like I'm kind of grounded for a while. What are some vintage toys that maybe ones you've seen on Basement of Horror, or maybe some you haven't seen that Like in terms of vintage toys, what are you really into? Everyone's excited about NECA and Mego and Super 7, new stuff, but what about vintage toys? What do you think of vintage toys? Is there anything going on right now in the vintage toy world, like something that's you're trying to collect, or something new that you didn't know existed that you just found out about? Make Do you need loose or carded figures? Like I seem like carded figures. I mean, all loose and carded, they've gone cuckoo in price, but Michael's collecting Creature from the Black Lagoon. Frankenstein Winkle game. I don't know what that is. What's a Winkle game? So Michael, like, what's a Creature from the Black Lagoon item you don't have that you're looking for? Yeah, Wrath. Yeah, I need more room to list us too. I don't have a lot of room. That's another reason I just don't. I'm not buying, especially this new stuff. I'd run out of room fast with all the new toys coming out. So I can't just have boxes and boxes and boxes of NECA and Mego and all these new. It would just pile up. I mean, it's already piled up there. There's no place left to pile it. So space is a big problem. So I don't know the Frankenstein Winkle game. I know there's that Frankenstein game where he's like sitting on top of a hill and I think he pops off. And I'm familiar with that one. Yeah, I don't have that game either. Isn't that a European game? I don't think it's American, is it? And which is the one that has the Creature from the Black Lagoon hands that you scoop? Is that the same game or is that a different game? Circus Peanut. Do I collect vintage Halloween items? Yeah, you mean like the holiday Halloween? Yeah, I have vintage Halloween items. So Paul, the Bigfoot game, even the one that stomps and leaves little footprints. Yeah, I had that as a kid, and I still have my childhood one, and I've got one that I bought as a collector. Uh, in modern times. So I've got that Bigfoot game. If you're talking about the one that stomps across the board, Mick, you're finding good deals on Mego and Mattel. So, I mean, vintage Mego, or do you mean like Mattel? I know Mattel has done some Mego style figures. Uh, yeah, I think you might see the Mark Spooky Tree on the show at some point. So, the Spooky Tree is one of my favorite vintage toys. He had a little mishap so I had him stored in his box, Why not? Okay. And then when I took him out to do that article, I discovered his nose had poked through the box. He wasn't, nothing happened to him. It wasn't Nothing was pushing on him. Just over time, like the nose was putting pressure on the box, and finally it just poked through. So I was not very happy to discover that. And I want to get that repaired, send it to a restoration artist, but that's going to be like $400 or $500 to get that repaired. So I just haven't had the money to do that. But it's an important toy, and I want to have it. I want to restore that. I don't like the hole in the front of the box. So that so I didn't even know that had happened until I wrote that article, and because it had been in a closet up on a shelf for a long time, and I took it down to photograph it. And like, what happened? Hello, Eric. Mick, you're surprised Brian and I are not Kiss fans. I know Brian just did a what he just put a video. It's not Kiss. What Alice Cooper. He just did an Alice Cooper video. I haven't watched it yet. Does he say something about Kiss in that episode? No, I'm not. I'm personally not a Kiss fan. I never got into them. You'd think I would. I was the right age when they were big, but I never did. I don't know why. I like the look of them. They look cool, but I never got into their music. I do like Ghost. I still like Ghost, but I liked them a little more the first three albums than now. I mean, as they've gone along, got more popular and more mainstream. They're not what they used to be. I Every new album, I hope they get back to something more like their old style, but they're never going to do that. I know you like Jaws. Walmart has I don't go to Walmart very often. I didn't think to look at the aquarium section. I had heard that there were some kind of Jaws aquarium toys, but there's like the shark's head, right, with the mouth open, and maybe a couple other things. I'll Next time I go to Walmart, I'll remember to look at that. Jim, no, I don't have any Hasbro mystery board games. And with a lot of 60s stuff, I used to have more 60s toys than I do now. I sold all of my 60s stuff. A lot of it is I like three-dimensional toys. In the 1970s, the toys are more three-dimensional, whereas the 60s, it's more about the artwork on the toy, like the mystery games. It's not like you open a mystery game and there's like some kind of three-dimensional representation of the character. Like Paul was talking about that Bigfoot game. There's a little Bigfoot figure in the 1970s Bigfoot game, the actual like a toy Bigfoot, and you can aside from the game, you can just play with that toy. The mystery games are nothing like that. It's just the board. So and because they're so expensive, the artwork's cool, but I can look at the artwork online. Uh, if there was some three-dimensional aspect to them, I think I'd be more into them. Let's see here. Now about the Operation game, I don't remember a Frankenstein one. I mean, there might have been some off-brand, copycat thing that I don't know about, but I don't remember a Frankenstein version. Monster Slime Swirl, thank you. I wrote another one of those. So I have a column in Brian's magazine, Toy Ventures, and what have I done? 3 of them now, I think. So I have one coming up. We had a lot of problems with that one, so I hope it turned out okay in the end. But that was a bit of a rough birth for that one. We had to use a C-section to get it out. Thank you, Brian. Thank you. Robert, about conventions. I used to always go to Horror Hound Indianapolis, which is also where they have Mask Fest. And I haven't done that since 2019. Obviously, there was a pandemic. And it's coming back this year, but I'm not going to go. Just too expensive. Too expensive. I don't have time, and I'm concerned about my cat, taking care of him. So I'd like to get back to doing stuff like that eventually, but I don't know. COVID certainly broke my routine as far as that's concerned. And the last time I went there to Horror Hound, Indianapolis, I was shot at. I was outside the hotel trying to just see a little bit of the surrounding area. There was a pizza parlor within a couple blocks. I thought, okay, I'll just walk out to this pizza parlor. Get something to eat, and I'll see a little bit of the surrounding city. And people started shooting, not at me, but at someone else on the sidewalk. Someone started shooting. Everyone was ran for cover. And I was actually close enough to the pizza place that I ran into the pizza place. So I still sat down and had pizza. But then outside the door, there was pandemonium and police coming. And then the police came into the pizza parlor and said, "Did anyone see anything?" And I was like, "Oh." I didn't see much except pow, pow. That's all I saw. So that's my last experience going to a convention. I think except for Toyman locally. Mick about checking out Kiss. Okay, I mean, if I checked out Kiss, I'd probably go chronologically. That's how I would want to. If I decide to try to get into a new artist, I'll usually go with their first album and start going chronologically. The Pin Plaques Jaws items. So I haven't seen. You're talking about the ones that are out now, because Pin Plaques didn't make Jaws items back in the day. But there's aquarium ornaments out now. Are they made by Pin Plaques? The pictures I've seen look really cute. I want to take a look at them. I might buy them. And Brian's talking about that Frankenstein Operation game. Yeah, I suspected there was maybe something that was, like he says, an off-brand one, but I don't really know anything about it. And Mick has the King Kong Milton Bradley game. Oh, from the Dino De Laurentiis era. Oh, thank you, Brian. It was a beautiful baby. Yeah, horror conventions, they were already kind of changing a few years ago, but I don't know, like post-COVID, I haven't been to one post-COVID, so I don't know what it's like now. Yosemite, yeah, I was shot at, yes, with a gun. with real bullets. Wrath. I'm hoping that someone does a good likeness of Lawton as Quasimodo. Well, the Miko Hunchback that does have a pretty good Lawton likeness. I don't like the body, but the head's pretty good. Now if you're talking about a mecha, yeah, that'd be cool. I'd rather them make Shady to go with the Universal series, but if they also made Lawton, that'd be great. But that Mego one, I mean, if you could customize it, like put it on a penguin body or something like that, uh, I haven't seen anyone do that. You'd think someone would do that by now. Take the Mego Lawton Hunchback, put it on a penguin, kind of a fat body with a hump. Uh, it's got some customizing possibilities. Thank you, Eric. Yeah, Sam, no, I haven't seen those Jaws things, but I will take a look at them. I've seen pictures of them. They look good in the pictures. Dark Side Dracula, you saw me in the Monster Maniacs. Is that the one that has Guillermo del Toro and Rob Zombie? Is that the documentary? Ah, yeah. I wish more people would see that. I was a low-level producer on that, and I also did some camera operating. I wish people would. It's not. Is it online now? Last time I haven't checked in a long time. Last time I checked, it wasn't online, and it wasn't for me to put it online, so I wasn't going to do that. So where did you see it? Is it streaming? Monster Slime cereal. I've heard of that, but I have not checked it out. I've heard of it. I mean, I know. That's all I can say is I've heard of it. I mean, if it's fun for the whole family, then I'm glad it's out there. Oh, this is like you saw the documentary like a live screening. Okay, why is it not online? I mean, it should be online. I don't understand why it's not. It's like a decade old, right? Yeah, they made it a long time ago. So you'd think with the people who are in it, not me, but like Rob Zombie and Guillermo del Toro and other names, I think. Well, I know Dan Roebuck's in it because he's produced it. You'd think a lot of people would watch that if it was online, but it's not online. Yeah, I've seen the Jaws game. Mick, what is Monster Maniacs? It's a it's a documentary about monster fans. You know, they're just talking about like being monster kids and collecting monsters and why they like monsters, that kind of thing. If I was more clear-headed, I would come up with all kinds of topics, but I'm just sort of like. Tell me about okay on Basement of Horror. What's that's a cornball question. What's your favorite episode? Like, what did you like? It could be because of thanks, Mick. It could be because of what I was showing, or could it be some other reason? What does anything stand out? The Ahai episode. That's one of the first ones. I know people have said, "Why don't I redo that?" And I probably will revisit the Azrac Henway toys in the coming year because the technical quality has improved since then. Although you wouldn't know it looking at this. So Wrath, you like the Egyptian one? Well, thank you. That was one of my season finales, so that was a little bit more personal. And you like the mummy at the end. And Dark Ride, you like Tomb of the Topstones. Thank you. I'd like to make some more of those. Uh, maybe I'll work on one over the summer. Yeah, Brian. And of course as you go along, you when you start, you're just kind of scrambling, do the best you can to get it, accomplished somehow. And then you kind of find a stride, and you spend a little money and a little time to improve your system. I mean, that's with anything, but certainly my episodes lately are technically better than what they were before. I was shooting on tape when the show began, but I kind of like the look of some of those early episodes. They look like a 1990s public access channel, which is kind of cute in a way. Oh, thank you, Jim. Thank you. And the Jiggler episodes and the old Book of Cruise. Yeah, I'd like to do more Jiggler episodes. They're kind of hard because they're tiny little things, and it's kind of hard to do them justice. You usually have to put your hand behind it to get them in focus, you know. And it's kind of an obscure topic. Not everyone's into that, but I'd like to do. I will do more Jiggler episodes. And the old book, like the Christmas catalog, that was fun. I've got a few other monster related publications that I might do something like that with in the future. Thanks, Paul. Yeah, I think if it was just me talking about toys, I don't know why you'd watch that. Oh, look at my hair. Ah. I don't know why you just say, "Hey, here's a toy." I mean, just so I try to add some value to it. But then there are other people who they just want to hear about the toy. Like, why is this guy talking about all this other goofy stuff? Good evening, Gareth. Wrath, meeting my family. I have a niece, and once she was over, and I said, "Why don't you? We could shoot a little episode if she was here." And I said, "Well, I could shoot something because we had some monster." I said, "Well, I got a bunch of Monster High toys. Maybe you could talk about that." And she was sort of camera shy, and yeah, she didn't want to do it. Oh, Brian. Yeah. Maybe I could show my old. No, it's not handy. Yeah. Now I had some really old. What once upon a time was broadcast quality camera equipment. So I thought, oh, it's broadcast quality. Yeah, for the 1990s, it was broadcast quality. Uh, so when I started, that's what I had. I mean, where did I get it? I had it for years and years. So I said, why go buy a bunch of new stuff? I've got this. And so that's what I started with. But uh, I, I'm glad. I was really on a shoestring. Not that I'm not now, but I was. My shoestrings were even skinnier when I started the show. And I think also it just when the this is a iPhone 10, so it's an outdated iPhone. But this is one of the iPhones I use to shoot the program. So I shoot it now on iPhones. And one of these days I'll graduate to a more recent iPhone. But even these older ones, they have really good picture quality. So I thought, why am I having these clunky old cameras when I could just get better quality out of this, which is what I started doing. Because for a while I was really skeptical about a phone. That you can't shoot on a phone. but I experimented with it. I said, "Hey, it actually looks pretty good." Oh, it's Matt. Hello, Matt. Your favorite episode was the Tomlin episode. Really? That's a long time ago. And Shelley liked the Jaws episode. Well, I'm glad. I like that Jaws episode. That's one of my favorites personally. I like that a lot. And that was one of the I think that was one of the first ones where I used the phone instead of the video camera. And I like the look of it. I think well, I don't it was one of the first, maybe not the first, one of the first. And Matt, if you're coming in late, I've got a cold. That's why I'm being so uncouth to blow my nose on camera. I would normally not do that. Eric, you like the Rendani Disney? I like that one too. That I don't think that was a very popular one. So I'm glad you liked it. But I like doing that one. Thanks, Paul. Would I have Gamel on my show? I don't think he'd be interested. Uh, he's not interested in this stuff, so he wouldn't. I don't know what he would talk about. He's not into toys. He's not into monsters at all. Uh, but I keep encouraging my brother. He's really into ancient Greek history, and he's done lectures on that topic. So I've encouraged him to do a YouTube show, like a regular show, where he talks about Greek history, and he won't do it. I don't know. He says that's just not his format. That's not. He doesn't feel comfortable in that format. Dark Ride, you liked the Lincoln episode, and you knew you were going to be in financial trouble. Well, you'd be in a lot more financial trouble now than you would have been 20 years ago. I collected Lincolns in the 90s, and I thought they were expensive then. The Lincolns were some of the first things I collected. I was, like I said earlier, I was collecting Doctor Who and Mego superheroes, and there was this collector named Bob Monco, and I think I talked about this in the episode. I went to his house, and that was the first time I saw a lot of these vintage packaged monster toys that I had as a child. I hadn't seen since, and I bought a carded Lincoln Frankenstein and I think a Dracula from him that day, and they weren't much money. I mean, it seemed like a lot at the time. I think they were like $100 each, which seemed like a lot then. But I came out with this, I had those two. I had some boxed Amigo superheroes, and I don't know what else. I came with like a stack of toys, and it was less than $500 total. I had the money because I knew I was going to go spend some money at his house. I put together some money, but what I walked away from that day today would be like multi thousands of dollars that if to sell today. So, but that was just going to some guy's house. Hey, let's look at his toys. Oh, come on, doing a little toy trading. And I don't think those days exist anymore. I think things have changed a lot in the hobby. And poor Bob's passed away. He's not with us anymore. Oh, you like the Carnival Frankenstein? Yeah, I like that too. His arms have fallen off, and I don't know I don't know what to do. And it's just a rubber band that connects it, but the rubber band, obviously it's rotted and fallen apart. But it's such a delicate doll. I don't know. I've wrestled with that. How to fix that. Uh, at least he isn't falling apart, which I know other people who have had that doll, it's just completely fallen apart. Mine, knock on wood. This is not wood. This is wood. This is particle. I think this is wood. I don't know. Mine is not falling completely apart yet. Thank you, George. Brian, state of the art. Oh yeah, yeah. You know why I don't use a digital SLR? Because the autofocus. A few things. I can't trust the autofocus. and my episodes can go very long. The storage capacity of all those cameras or the battery length, it won't allow me to confidently have a 90-minute presentation or something without it going dead. So I thought about, should I move to digital SLRs, but I don't. There's some questions I have about that. I don't feel quite confident about it. Everyone's happy to see Matt. Oh, Brian, you knew Bob. Cool. Yeah, he was something. Yeah, and seeing his house kind of inspired me to say, "Oh yeah, I want a collection like that one day." Because he had just vintage, rare vintage toys just lying everywhere, just like in his kitchen sink, just stacked up, just everywhere. They're on the floor. He had like the original second series Color Forms Outer Spacemen, the ones that were never released. He had and the ones that were released too on cards. Carded Azrak, Hamway, and Lincoln, and Tomlin, and Sealed Aurora, just all as far as monster, just you name it. He had all kinds of monster stuff, and it was just all over. You're literally tripping on just like on the floor, on the kitchen counter, everywhere. Thanks, Paul. You liked my I love with toys. Yeah, I appreciate everyone who's watched that. That was definitely a labor of love, not just to make it in 1995, but to restore it for the 25th anniversary. I don't know if you can tell, but I put a lot of effort into restoring that and making it look and sound as good as I could, given I mean, it was shot on SVHS in the 90s, and it was hard to watch, but I was able to get it remastered. Brian, yeah, that's the kind of experiences I had with Bob. That kind of stuff, exactly. That's the kind of stuff happened with me. Oh, the X-ray was fascinating. You're talking about the Carnival Frankenstein. Maybe that's a Toy Ventures article one day for that Carnival Frankenstein. I don't know. The X-ray is what makes it kind of weird. That's what makes it a story. Is to just here's this toy. The X-ray part of it is what makes it kind of interesting. Yeah, Brian, autofocus. I can rely on the iPhone autofocus. It's excellent, but I've looked into the DSLRs and just I can't. If I'm not behind the camera looking through it, I just don't trust that the autofocus. Dark side. So you're giving up on the tunnel now, but like the U.S. Yeti, Morlock, Cyclops, Fly, they're not that hard to get. I wouldn't give up if that's what you want. Now, if you're talking about like the Mummy, Frankenstein, Dracula, okay, that's different. I can't even get that stuff. Maybe if I move to Argentina, that's where they all seem to come from. Let's see here. Wrath. Do you have Seller's Remorse? Oh gosh, I mean, yes. I hate selling. I'm not a dealer. I hate selling. anything. I hate it. I regret pretty much everything I've ever sold. When I sell something, it's because I just have to. I need the money, and I don't have any other way to get it. I don't have any other avenue if I need, which happens, every now and then. If I need a couple of $1,000s or whatever, where am I going to get it? So I don't have disposable income to just pile up gold doubloons and just open my chest and it takes them out when I need it. So when I sell something, it's because I need the money, and it hurts every time. I hate selling. I hate selling anything. I just hate it. I don't like selling at all. So there's all kinds of things I once had that I say, oh, why did I ever sell that? Because I'll never get them back. The things keep going up and up and up, and I can't afford to get some of this stuff again. Lately, I've really been thinking about the Kenner Alien. I've got my childhood one, but I used to have a store stock boxed one. It was sealed when I got it, but I peeled the tape to look in there to make sure that the post everything was there and then put it back. So it was opened by me, but other than that, it was store stock. So lately, I've been really wishing I still had that toy because it's a thing from my childhood. But to get it in the condition that I had it in would just forget it. It would cost a lot of money. But I've been looking at it. I've been looking at them on eBay. Kind of, Matt, are you worried something happened to me? Well, I'm sick. If you could hear it, so I can't breathe. I'm breathing through my mouth. I'm definitely sick. Dark Ride. Yeah, yeah. Oh, so you're saying you want Dark Ride? You want the Frankenstein, Dracula, Wolfman, Mummy? Yeah. I mean, you might get a mummy someday. It wouldn't be cheap, but it's at least it's you could get it maybe. But and also there was a guy, he messaged me a few days ago. He was selling the Morlock, and it wasn't the famous monsters of legend, or it wasn't the reverse that, stop it, rewind. It was the famous monsters of legend glow Morlock, and you could the glow Star Raiders and the famous monsters of legend glow, they are not the same toy. Like the Yeti, Cyclops, Morlock, Fly, the Star Raiders that glow are not the same figures as the famous monsters of legend glow versions. They're different in many ways, and you could tell right away if you know what to look for which one it is. And he had the famous monsters of legend glow Morlock, and I don't know what he wanted. I don't have any money for that, so I think he put it out there on Facebook just to the public, and asked for DMs. I don't know if he sold it or not, but it was tempting. But I'm sure he wanted 1,000 or more for it, so I can't do that. Now, if it were like a Wolfman or something in that series, again, I couldn't afford it, but at least I would have said, well, how much? And it kind of like they would have said, $5,000. So forget it. Paul, what can we look forward to in the future? Hopefully not more of that. Oh, gosh. So, Paul, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to change the format of the show this coming year. I think through Halloween it'll look pretty much the same. After Halloween, I don't know what I'm going to do, but something's going to change. It's not going to be the same thing you've been seeing. I don't know yet. I'm still thinking about it, but for a variety of reasons, something's going to change. So I think like 2023, 2024 episodes are something is gonna look different than what we've seen up to this point. I don't know yet. Still thinking about it, but the show in some way, shape, or form is not gonna be exactly like it's been. I'm still mulling that over. Probably do Halloween episodes like October. Hopefully, I'll figure it out by then. Then I might take a little break after that and come back with whatever this new format's going to be. But I'm still thinking about that. I'm not sure yet. As far as subject matter, I really want to interview some people. I'm disappointed I didn't get to interview anyone. I don't think this past season. As we were talking about earlier, I'd love to go to some people's homes and look at their collection, and do little remote things like that. I'd like to get out of this basement and do more stuff out of the basement. So I don't know. I don't know how realistic that is, but that's something I'd like to do, and revisit some of those early episodes, those topics that were shot with that very crude equipment that look, and shoot them again. Not try to recreate those episodes, but just let's examine these toys again with better equipment and see what if my perspective a couple of years out is a little different from what it was then. I don't know. So that's and there's a lot of toys I can feature that I have not gotten to. I mean, I've got quite a few more things. There's no trouble finding another season worth of toys to talk about. But I'd like to get away from just sitting here and just talking about a toy and try to get out, interview people. Oh, Dark Ride. So an open Azrak creature went for $8,000. Yeah, I kind of remember that. How long ago was that? I think I remember that. Adam, you made me discover the Shriek of the Mutilated. I absolutely loved it. Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. Um, okay, I've wanted to do an episode on Shriek of the Mutilated. I just don't know if I have enough stuff to really fill it out because I can just sit here like I like Shriek of the Mutilated, blah 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 blah. But I want things to show you, like I did with the Coffin Joe, not 3 hours, but I want to show you some things related to Shriek. So I don't know. I still feel like I'm a little light on that to really flesh out an episode. And I'd love to do an interview related to Shriek. That's an area where I could use some assistance. I mean, there's particularly the lead actress in Shriek. I've never seen her interviewed anywhere. I do know how to. I've identified how to get in touch with her. She's still alive, and and she actually. I don't want to say too much about her, but she's out there. I did send her a message on Facebook, but I don't think she's checking that account, and I can see she's never seen it. But I don't know. I think I need to go through some more official channels to get to her. She'd be the one I want to interview because I've never seen anyone interview her, and she's had a really interesting life. And I've seen video of her talking about her life, and I think she'd be a really interesting interview. The producer at Adlam, he's been interviewed several times. The actor, I mean Roberta Finlay, she's been interviewed. We'll just leave it there. and unfortunately, the director is Michael Finlay, who I'm kind of a fan of. Michael Finlay. He's dead. Died tragically in a helicopter accident long ago. The guy, I forgot his actor's name, who plays the piano and sings the Yeti songs. He's been interviewed, and I've seen his interview, and so he's maybe reachable. But so instead of just like holding stuff, I'd like to interview some of these people and make it into a bigger thing. But that's that might be kind of ambitious. I might need some help getting that together. But yeah, I'd like to do a Shriek, and I'd like to do a Blood Island episode. And I do have quite a bit of Blood Island stuff. So there's a couple of things I don't have, and that I'd really like to get those before I do an episode. Kind of like when I did the Jaws episode, I didn't have the Lincoln Shark Hunter boat. I was disappointed I didn't have that. And when a couple years later I got that boat, I did a follow-up episode. Kind of like that with Blood Island. There's a couple things I really wish I had to include in a Blood Island episode. And if I could just get my hand on those couple of things, I would do the episode. Where are we here? I've lost track. Now, I don't think I would do a Blu-ray episode. Like, here's my collection. Yeah, I don't think I would do that. Paul, would you ever take us upstairs? No. Sorry. George, living room horror. See, yeah, that you're not going to see that. I don't even let you see the basement. You don't even know what's over there. This is what you see. Michael, do you own any of the Palmer Plastics Monsters figures? Yes. I have all of the characters, at least one of each of the characters. And I used to have a Fay Ray, but I sold that. That's the one I regret. I regret everything I sold. I regret selling that because I'm never going to have that again. But I had a King Kong with the Fay Ray still attached by a sprue to the side of Kong. And I sold that. And to get that back, I don't know how much money that would cost. More than I'm willing to spend. So I'll never have that again. I've never had a packaged Palmer set. Like my friend Andy and probably Matt as well have packaged Palmer sets. I don't know if Tom has a packaged set, but several of my friends have packaged sets. That's a lot of money. I don't have a packaged set of Palmers. I used to have a pretty good Pop Tops multiple plastics collection, and then I just sold all of that. I just flushed it out. But that's talking about regret. Yeah, of course I regret that, selling my multiple, and I knew I'd regret it at the time, but I said, whatever. O'Brien, yeah, I love Shriek of the Mutilated. I like that movie a lot. I don't know why that movie means a lot to me. That's one of my favorite movies. I'm not going to defend it as great filmmaking, but there's just something about it. I don't know. I like that movie a lot. Dark Ride, a few months back, the seller had a bunch of carded Azracs, but the creature was completely open and off the card. Oh, okay. Oh, I think I remember that. I think I do. Yeah. Well, of course, since I have a carded wide waist creature on a sealed card, I'm very happy to hear that an open one sold for $8,000. So when you own something, you want it to sell. Oh, when you don't own it, you're like, oh no, you want it to sell low so you'll get it someday. And the higher up it goes, kind of the position you're probably in, when you hear about it selling for a lot of money, like, oh, I'll never get it now. But if you've already got one, you're like, oh yeah, sell, go up. I don't have a thin waist creature anymore. I used to have two carded thin waist A-height creatures. Now I have a very, very minty loose one on a reproduction card. Let's see here. Dark Ride, we need a Planned Stallions Basement of Horror crossover episode. What would that be like? I can have Brian sitting here. I won't try to imitate his voice. I'll fail, but he could sit here and Basement of Horror. I don't know. Let's see. Paul, how long did it take to film, edit, and produce the first Attack of the Coronavirus? So, how many people here have seen the Coffin Joe episode all the way to the end? Because it's a long episode. At the very end, and at some time I might post the end online by itself. At the very end, there's quite an involved sequence where coronavirus monsters are attacking me, and I turn into Coffin Joe. How long did that take? To create that, from like not just shooting it, just everything involved. It was about a month. It was about a month. And you remember it was this long delay. Part of that was just shooting a 3 hour plus. It was like a 4 hour episode that I cut down a little, and editing all that. That was a lot of work. But also that ending. Okay, so let me talk about the ending. Okay, so I'm yelling like, "Stop it! Stop it!" Okay, I uh, I can't do that here. I'll have the cops. I'm like, "Stop it!" I'll have the cops knocking at my door. So just for that, so when I shut it, I realized I was doing what I just did just now. I was going, stop it, like keeping my voice low, and I can't do that. I have to really yell. So I was thinking, where can I go to record this? Anywhere I go, I'm gonna have people like, what's going on? It's not like I have a sound stage or something to record this kind of stuff, or like a soundproof room. So I ended up at night driving to this big parking lot. It was a shopping mall. They had like a extra parking lot attached, so it was very far. But there was a movie theater in the mall, so it would make sense for a car to be there. If it was a completely closed mall, the cops would come by and say, "Why is that car there?" Maybe bother me. So I picked this very strategically, but it was so far away, no one would hear. So it was like middle of the night in this parking lot, empty, mostly empty parking lot with the nearest cars very far away where the theater was. I'm thinking, am I going to get mugged or something out here? I don't know. And in the car on my phone, I was with a microphone. I was recording the stop it on the phone, and then syncing it up to the footage I shot. So that's just one part of that. That's not counting all the puppets, and also there's there's AI in that sequence. It's my first experience trying to use AI. The backgrounds are AI generated, and it was ridiculous trying to get what I wanted out of the AI, trying to make into the mythical basement with all the boxes and everything. It was ridiculous. And then trying to think, what's Coffin Joe going to say? I was going to do the speech where he talks a lot, and it was pretentious. I thought, oh, this is no, he's just got to say something short and sweet, and that's it. So I shot a couple different versions where one's very angry, it was like like that. And I just said, no, that's dumb. And I used the more understated one. So a lot of work went into that couple of minutes at the end of that. So a lot of work went into the 3.5 hours, and even more work went into that little bit at the end. So yes, it was a lot of work. Okay, where are we here? The Coffin Joe show extraordinary. It could have been twice as long, and it would not have been enough. Well, thank you, Gareth. I don't know about twice as long. I think it was long enough. I don't know how many people even watched the whole thing. Oh, Paul, you saw it. Thank you. Sam, that puppet is a jinx. Oh, because I'm sick now. Okay. Yeah, maybe. But I defeated the puppets. You saw me. I went and defeated those puppets. Maybe this is their revenge. Thank you, Gareth. Brian, I witnessed your special. Yeah. Oh, the life-size Mark's Frankenstein. Yeah, that was pretty cool. And that's when COVID first started. That was right when lockdown started. That's when I shot that episode with the giant Mark's Frankenstein. Smash like if you like puppets. I like puppets. Wiggle, yeah. So Wiggle Ick, Justin. Wiggle Icks, of course, are the wind-up ones, and the bobbleheads. We kind of casually call them all Wiggle Icks, but the real Wiggle Icks are a different sculpt. I don't have the genuine Wiggle Icks that you wind up and move, but I did cover the bobbleheads. Yes, and I think the Carnival Frankenstein is the same episode as the bobbleheads, isn't it? I think so. No, you're not, Justin. No, I covered them. Is the Mummy one supposed to be based on Frankenstein's daughter? Oh, yes. Yeah, the Mummy one is definitely Frankenstein's daughter. Who knows what was in their head when they were making it, but we can see that it's obviously Frankenstein's daughter. Sam, recent Momo sightings. Not that I know of. You might want to ask Lyle Blackburn about that. He'd be the one to ask about whether there've been recent Momo sightings. I haven't heard of any. Oh my goodness. Yikes. Turin John? Oh, thank you. Good to hear from you. Big plans for Halloween season videos. Well, I hope they're good, whatever I do, but I don't know. Do we want to do a Bleak Sunday again? Or is everyone kind of sick of that? Or how do we feel about that? Because if we want to do that, we probably should start now instead of waiting till the last minute. I'll do more Ben Cooper, and maybe I'll finally do Imagineering. I haven't bought any Imagineering stuff lately because it's never comes up, and when it does, it's so expensive. The stuff I don't have, everything that comes up is stuff I've already got. So I don't know if there is any point in waiting to do it Imagineering, or just go ahead and do it. Go with what I've got. I've got a pretty good collection as it is. Let's see here. Paul, do I still have tinnitus? Oh, heavens, yes. Oh, you better believe I still have tinnitus. I doubt that I'll ever not have tinnitus. I hear it right now. Boo. That's it, tinnitus. And then kind of like a dog whistle sound. The boo is the right ear, and the is the left ear. So all the time. I'll probably never get rid of it unless there's some medical breakthrough. Brian, they're better than mine. I'm at 1975 BBC levels where I like. Brian, I've lost track of the conversation. What is it about the 1975 BBC? I'm not sure what that's referring to. I've lost the narrative. Justin, I thought so. Do you remember which? Oh, the Wiggle X. I think it's the season finale of the first season. I think it's it opens with a carnival, like a real carnival, and then I talk about the carnival doll, the Frankenstein, at the end. But I think before that, I think I talk about the Wiggle X because the ones I have are in carnival bags, or they're bags with little hooks on them, so you can't see them very well because they're in bags. But they're carnival things. That's why I put it together in this kind of carnival theme. So season 1, the last episode, whatever that is. Okay, Eric. No, I don't think it's going to glow in the dark. Oh, there's Justin. Hello, Justin. My dream is to one day be the first live cast on Basement of Horror. Oh, you found something cool to send me. Well, I hope it doesn't melt by the time it gets to me. Now, Justin, I feel I feel like you'd be disappointed at it. You come in, it's just a basement with a bunch of stuff. It's not like the Acker Mansion or anything like that. It's I'm afraid it would be I was going to say underwhelming, anticlimactic. But it'd be interesting to have you sitting here, doing an episode. Dark Ride, yes to Bleak Sunday. Bleak Sunday is great. Oh, there's Mikey. I may begin. I was waiting for you, Mikey. What is this? 1 hour and 41 minutes. We have been waiting all this time for you. Now we can start. Thank you very much. Sam, try NAC for your tinnitus. Matt actually suggested something that worked for a while. I'm not taking it now. I took it for several months and it seemed to help, and I might go back on that. So I've seen a few doctors, and one of them suggested a surgery. One suggested one surgery, then another doctor said, "No, don't do that. Do this instead." So, I might try surgery and probably got to lose. I don't know. Gareth talking about 1975. That BBC no longer exists. That world no longer exists. Oh, so Brian, you're talking about your special effects are 1975 BBC level. Okay. Yeah, I get that. Let's see here. So you're talking about like the Brian, like the Coffin Joe episode. Like, yeah, those are like good old fashioned Tom Baker era Doctor Who special effects. But you're saying yours are even worse. Well, I don't know. Your videos seem to have pretty good production values, I think. Okay, where am I here? Justin. Oh, okay. Well, I haven't had anyone in here in years and years and years. I think the last person was probably Andy a long time ago. I don't know. We can talk about it if you're ever in the area. Like I said, this is I mean, trust me, I'm looking at it right now. It's not very impressive. This is a bunch of junk and some litter boxes over here. From COVID, I had it for a year. Oh, tinnitus? Yeah, and I wonder if COVID could be related to how I got this. I don't know. Could be. Am I hunting for new figures? Let's see. I'm sure. Well, I'm always on the lookout for Topstone masks that I don't have, like the classic era, the Keith Ward era Topstone. Um, but that stuff hardly ever turns up anymore. A lot of the 80s, 90s Topstones, but not a lot of the early ones. You hardly ever see those anymore. Um, it's not what you would expect. I really like the Toy Island talking Mego style figures from like 1993 ish. I've got the monsters on cards. Uh, and I've got the 3 pirates. So this is some of the only non-monster stuff I still have. I've got the 3 pirates on the US cards. And I've got one of the second series pirates on the UK card, I think. And I've got 2 of the cowboys on, I think, European or UK. They came from Australia on those cards. So the U.S. cards, well, the non-U.S. cards say "Just touch me." The U.S. cards don't say that. So I'd really like to get, because I got the monsters, I want the rest of them. So I really like to have all 6 of the pirates and all 3 of the cowboys. And they also were going to make some Native Americans that they, as far as I know, they never produced. Maybe they did. They're just really rare. I don't know. So the pirates are the voice raiders. The cowboys are the voice rangers. And I think the Native Americans were the voice warriors, but I don't think they ever made them. And then the monsters are just called the monsters. So if I didn't have the monsters, I wouldn't be buying the rest. But because I've got the monsters, I want all the other ones. So that's a weird little out of left field thing that I'm trying to finish. So I need 2 more of the pirates, the second series pirates, and 1 more of the cowboys. Sam, where's Billy? He's probably hiding. Midsummer Scream. Yeah, I've heard of that. You only did it because things are difficult. I've heard of Midsummer Scream. There's a lot of conventions I'd like to go to, but I don't. It's time and money. So, yeah, maybe. I think. Is Monster Bash this week, or just this past week? Because I saw some friends posting on Facebook some Monster Bash pictures. I used to go to Monster Bash. That's out. I think in Pittsburgh, unless they've moved it. It's long distance. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Hare. Oh, that's me. Yeah, I've certainly got a red nose today. Yeah, Mikey. I don't know about Mask Fest. A lot of people I know are going there. I think it might be overwhelming. There's just everyone's going to be there. So I don't know. Raccoon Boy. Hello. Greetings from Mexico. Do I have any monster related shirts or clothing? Not really. I mean, I've got some Coffin Joe T-shirts. I've got some Top Stone T-shirts. A couple Universal Monsters T-shirts. Some Bigfoot T-shirts. So just T-shirts. That's what you're talking about. Some Blood Island. I think I've got a Blood Island Hawaiian shirt. That's a modern piece. Um, so stuff like that, if that's what you mean. So I guess I actually have more than I thought I had. Not vintage though, and I don't have any of those shirts that have all the generic Universal monsters. Like they're not licensed, but they're like generic representations of them. You've seen them, I'm sure. They have all the faces on them, or or there's a pattern that has like a bunch of B movie posters all over. I don't have those. Justin, what's the last toy line I remember buying and playing with? Actually playing with. Well, my brother's 3 years younger than me, so after I aged out, I would still occasionally play with him playing with toys. So in that case, it would be Indiana Jones toys, because I had aged out right when those came out, so I wasn't buying or playing with those myself, but he was still playing with them. So my brother and I would play Indiana Jones. Uh, but I had aged out by then, but because he was still playing, I would play. Before that, a lot of my fondest toy memories are from the last year or so before I aged out. Like that's when, like the Kenner Alien, which seems like a huge part of my childhood, it really was only a year and a half, 2 years maybe at most bef- from getting that to stop playing with toys. So it's like the tail end of my childhood, but it had a big impact, that Alien. So that was a big deal, and that would have been when I got the Remco monsters. So I had a lot Remco monsters. I love the large size Star Wars figures, Grigori, a lot of stuff that came out like right at the end of my toy playing years, like the last 2 years. I think by the time I turned 13, that's when I stopped playing with toys. So that 11th and 12th year, I got a whole bunch of stuff that was really important to me. It was like the grand finale of my toy years, like a fireworks display that builds up to the big pow 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 at the end. That was the big finale with all the big fireworks. My 11th and 12th year, I had all these great toys that came out at that in that era. So yeah, large size Star Wars, Kenner Alien, Remco monsters, the hugging ones, Grigori, uh, and then through my brother, Indiana Jones, but he had that because I had turned 13 and I maybe I was 12 or 13 right when he got into that. So I still played a little bit with him because he was playing with it. And then that was it. And I think the last fun thing I got for Christmas was the Creepshow comic book, the Bernie Wrightson Creepshow comic book. That was the last sort of kids thing I ever got for Christmas. And after that was just grown up stuff or money. Let's see here. So Eric, Monsterpalooza and Son of Monsterpalooza are really good. Yeah, and I've been to Monsterpalooza in Burbank. And Brian, yeah, I've been to Monster Bash a few times. It was cool. Paul, no, I'm not a fan of modern horror, but I've often said it's lost its way. But what is the most recent horror film I did enjoy? So I haven't seen a lot of recent ones. I would say the it's several years old now, but the modern horror movie that's closest to my heart is the Babadook. I really feel like that's a modern classic, a masterpiece. It really something about it hit home with me. I really like that movie. I know a lot of people don't like the kid. He's always whining. That didn't bother me. I don't know why. When I was watching it, that didn't faze me. Maybe I work at a center with children with disabilities who are getting therapy and education. So I'm just used to that kind of wailing and crying and screaming and acting up. Just maybe I don't even notice it. Maybe that's why it didn't bother me. But that movie, I like that movie a lot. Uh, and around the same time, It Follows, which was within a year or so. But then more later films, I haven't seen a lot of horror in the last couple of years. I know I sure as heck did not like Hereditary. I like Toni Collette, her performance, but I didn't like the movie. I mean, I had a negative reaction to that movie. I don't mean it just wasn't very good. I mean, I wanted to burn it. I take every copy of that film, burn it. I didn't like it, and I don't know why everyone loves it so much. I'm not in the fan club. Sorry, but I haven't seen a lot of recent films from the last couple of years, horror films, or any film really. I haven't been in the movies very much. Really, from the COVID era on, and even a little bit before then, I just haven't seen many films. Let's see here. RV collects. Do I collect any horror comic books or magazines? No, not seriously. I mean, I've got a few here and there, but I don't. Like famous monsters. I don't have a famous monsters collection. I've got the first issue one of famous monsters, and I've got a couple others, but I don't have a serious collection of famous monsters. Attempting to get the whole run. I don't have that. I've got like a half dozen or so issues. Comic books. No, not really. I mean, I've got Coffin Joe comic books that I showed on my program, and I've got the odd thing here and there, like that superhero Dracula and superhero Frankenstein comic books. Not the Monster of Frankenstein or the Tomb of Dracula. Not those. The ones that are have like a superhero costumes, like they're in tights. Those weird ones. I got some stuff like that. Sam, Killer Alien Rules. Got one for Christmas 79. That's when I got mine, Christmas 79. Oh, Justin is asking if we mixed different toy lines. Yes. Did we recreate movies? Yes. So, so for recreating movies, we recreated Alien and Jaws a lot. Those seem to be big on the recreation list. And for some reason, Moonraker, I don't know why, but we recreated that. But Jaws and Alien several times who recreated those movies. And it depended what scale. Like with Jaws was adventure people in their boats and rubber sharks. Sometimes the game of Jaws with the snapping. And then we would have stuffed toys. So we would have like stuffed Bugs Bunny would be Brody, stuffed King Kong would be Quint, and who was Hooper? Was it Fozzie Bear? No, I think it was Scooter. I think Scooter was Hooper. And then the game of Jaws would be the shark. So sometimes we do that. And when we did Moonraker, Bugs Bunny was James Bond, King Kong was Jaws, and I put foil over his teeth. And then we didn't use Miss Piggy or something for whoever the female lead is in that movie. We used, I think, Princess Leia or Jamie Summers or something like that. But it would be a cast. So I don't know how like now people joke about the Muppet version of different movies. Like you'll see memes like the Muppet version of the Wicker Man. Well, they have stills from the Wicker Man, but they put the Muppet faces on everybody. Well, that was part of our childhood. We were actually doing that as kids. We were taking these stuffed toys like Muppet characters and enacting these movies. And Alien, once again. So we had Princess Leia would be Ripley. But again, we'd have Bugs Bunny and the Muppet and Fozzie and all those characters, and we'd have the plush King Kong, these stuffed toys. And then my alien figure would be the alien. I'm like moving his jaws like that. Sometimes we do it more seriously with 12-inch figures. So we had like $6 Million Man, G.I. Joe, Pulsar, some Star Wars figures against the alien. And then we do a more serious sort of alien game. And Pulsar would be Kane because you could rip his shirt open and have a little rubber shark under Pulsar's shirt. And you pull the Velcro apart and the rubber shark would come out. And, you'd have his organs underneath. So he was very handy for that. When we did it with the stuffed toys, I think Hugo, Man of a Thousand Faces, was Kane because he had that opening in the bottom, and you could put I think I would put like red blood on his chest, but then a bigger rubber shark would come out the bottom of Hugo, and so he would be Kane for Alien when we did stuffed toys. So we did a lot of that weirdness. And we'd mix Star Wars and other characters, and have the different worlds meet. But there wasn't like superheroes or $6 Million Man meets Star Wars. They were just all in the same world. They were just, here's Darth Vader, and Knight of Darkness would be like a bounty hunter, just like Boba Fett. I had Boba Fett, I had IG-88, had Darth Vader, and Night of Darkness would just be one of the bounty hunters with them. So they were mixed all together, and then they would encounter the rebels, and maybe Steve Austin would be there, or the Hulk. I had a Amigo 12-inch Hulk, had a beardless GI Joe that was David Banner, not Bruce Banner, David Banner from the TV show, and he would always be dressed in like a white shirt and some kind of reddish pants. I think he had like Maskatron's shirt, and he would be David Banner. And so we'd mix up Star Wars, Six Million Man, Hulk, Alien, whatever, and just it'd all be this big soup. So that was our games. Okay. Oh, Sam, stay away from the Human Centipede. Ah, too late. I've seen that. I actually own that movie. Gareth, Rob Zombie's The Munsters was howlingly funny. They even wanted to put a nod to Doctor Who, but they ran out of time. Really? What were they going to do with Doctor Who? I mean, I know they had one of the doctors in the movie, Sylvester McCoy. Yeah, I liked The Munsters. I mean, it was a harmless movie. It wasn't didn't redefine the character or the horror genre. It wasn't, Oscar worthy or anything like that, but it was a good, fun family movie. And it was a weird phenomenon how much hate was thrown at that movie. I kind of understand some of why, but I think people were just primed to hate it for some reason. I think some issues they had with the director came through. I don't know. That's a whole other discussion, but I liked it. Let's see. Eric, a lot of horrors too depressing. Modern horror is too depressing. Yeah, I think we don't have horror. We have misery porn. We went from torture porn in the first part of the 21st century, like in 2000s, 2010s, from torture porn to misery porn. And a lot of it is like family horror, trauma, just heartache and trauma. There's nothing fun about it. It's just, bleh. Yeah, it's very depressing. I don't know what to say. It's I haven't watched a lot of modern horror because why would you want to? I mean, what would you get out of it? It's why? It's not enjoyable. Let's see. Sam, hope we see a nice Aneka Brody. Oh yeah, that'd be nice. Who knows? Who knows if we're gonna see that? Why is the state blocking everything? Because some people are funny like that. Why do people do weird things? I'm sure it's not for any logical reason that we could identify with. I'm sure it's just. I mean, I've heard that estate's very difficult to deal with. I don't know. That's no point in speculating. Just some people who control licenses are just they've got their own reasons for doing what they do. Let's see here. I've shown some of my drawings when I was a kid. Oh yeah. Do I still draw? No. No. Haven't drawn in a long time. And I have more drawings somewhere. I wish I could find the rest of them. Justin, I love that you remember how you played one of the best episodes where you guys custom toys. Thank you. Yeah, I like that. I'm glad I was able to show that. I'm glad I still have some of those. Mark, good night, Mark. Thank you for coming. Gareth, in a kid's mind, there is no reason not to have a multiverse. Yeah, it's hard not to have one when you're a kid. Mushroom, I never thought of it that way. What way? Sam was gross. Hereditary or what was gross? Brian, modern horror is too dreary. Yeah, it's dreary, all right. And I don't know why, but for some reason, a few days ago I watched The Brood. I don't know why I decided to watch that, but I hadn't seen it in a while. I've actually seen it on the big screen, but that was a few years ago. So I was thinking, let's watch something. The Brood. I don't know what triggered that, but I realized it was similar to Hereditary in some ways. That it was about generational horror. It was a generational trauma going from one generation to another, being passed down, and the way that manifests itself. But I said, but I'm enjoying this movie, The Brood. It's dark, it's serious, it's downbeat, it's not fooling around. It's a work of art. It's a serious filmmaker making a serious film, but it's fun. This is how you handle that subject matter in a way that's scary and serious and fun. And that's not what Hereditary was. It was just nothing fun about that movie. um, just a misery porn or CGI monsters. Yeah, I don't like CGI monsters. I mean, you can't look at it and say, how'd they do that? Well, how'd they do that? They or with a stylus or something. They did it on a computer screen. There's no mystery about it. Like, how'd they do that? There's pixels. That's how they did it. And it always looks like what it is. I mean, with a practical effect, it might not look like, let's say you've got a practical lizard monster coming through the door, wet, dripping lizard monster attacking you in your cabin. It might look like a foam rubber suit, but it's actually there. The reality of that, the fact that it's really there, okay, it looks like foam rubber. Well, but this monster, that's what this monster looks like. What would a real lizard monster look like? It would look like that pretty much. So it's there. Whereas with CGI, instead of being scared that a lizard monster is coming through your door, why aren't you like, a cartoon is coming through my door? How is this possible? How is this computer animated cartoon existing in the real world and and interacting with me? Because that's what I'm thinking. Like, it's a cartoon. I mean, if it's a person in a suit, that's still scary. If there was a person in a rubber suit who wanted to kill you, you would be scared. You wouldn't say, "Ha ha, you got a suit." You'd be like, "Oh, get me out of here." It's still scary because it's real. But if it's a cartoon, it's not really there. I don't like CGI. It has its place, but it's just not everything has to be CGI. Mushroom Hill Netflix series Black Mirror is good, and I don't have Netflix right now. I might get it back in the future. But I don't have it right now. I know new season of Black Mirror just dropped. Sam, would I buy a human centipede figure? No. What would they do? I mean, they're not going to do the people. Would they do the scientist? Yeah, I wouldn't buy that. Gareth, there was a scene where the count shouts for Igor, asks him where he gets off. Oh, you're talking about the monsters. And the unshot scene would cut to Igor, Sylvester McCoy replicating, playing the spoons from the time they're. Oh, I see. Well, that would have been cute. Paul, at any point, have you ever considered collecting prop replicas? No, not into prop replicas. I mean, if I could afford screen use props, maybe I'd have some of that, but I can't afford that. I do have a Barnabas Collins cane, but that's a real cane. It's the that company that made the Barnabas Collins canes. Harvey is the name of the company, and they already were making that cane before the show used it for Barnabas's cane. So it was a real cane. It was already existed. So buying that, I'm buying not a prop or a replica. I'm buying the same model cane from the same company. They still make it. So I have that. But when they made a licensed Dark Shadows cane with a name Dark Shadows logo on it, I didn't buy that because that is a souvenir replica thing. I didn't want that. I wanted actual real cane. So I don't like prop replicas. I like the real thing. So that kind of limits what I could buy. Mushroom Hill, 1988 Monsters TV show had the last really great run of practical effects over monsters. Yeah, I remember that show. I mean, there was a lot of good monsters on the X Files, and well, I mean, there was that. I can't really think of another show after that that had a lot of good practical effects. Oh, Tommy, any new movies I'm planning to see? Um, well, I mean, I'll see. I haven't seen a Marvel film in a long time, but I might see Guardians of the Galaxy 3 before it leaves theaters. That's probably the only Marvel film I'll be seeing anytime soon. Uh, I'll see The Last Voyage of the Demeter, the Dracula film, and I'll see. I mean, it's still a ways out. This remake of Nosferatu. I'll probably see that. I don't know. I'm not. There's not really anything coming out. I'm like, oh boy, I gotta see that. Oh, Brian's saying good night. Good night, Brian. Yes, I need some vitamin C. Justin, what's the best convention from a monster toy collecting perspective? From a toy collecting perspective, I guess there's a lot of good stuff at Monster Bash because it's aimed at an old school audience. Whereas a lot of other things are like modern horror. Monster Palooza is a great show. I haven't been there in a long time, but I don't know though from a collecting standpoint. Depends what you're collecting. I'd say Monster Bash. I don't know. That's because it seems like it's the demographic is more aimed at that group. We'd love to see you at Midsummer Scream this year. I just don't know if I'm going to any conventions anytime soon. The stuff, yeah, I remember that. Something Wicked This Way Comes, I remember that. Yeah, so I saw Something Wicked at the theater when it was new, and I had a poster as a child, and I recently found that poster. I was looking for other stuff. I think it was when I was looking for Coffin Joe stuff to for that episode. I was going through my drawers trying to make sure I wasn't missing anything, and I think I found my childhood Something Wicked This Way Comes poster. It's folded. It's got the movie poster on one side with Mr. Dark and everything, and on the other side, it's got Ray Bradbury and some information. So it was interesting finding that again. I was neat seeing that. I hadn't seen that since I was a kid. It was in a drawer. Like, oh, I still have this. How cool. Uh, let's see. Oh, Justin. So yeah, you're gonna be at Midsummer Scream. Uh, so you could have that same uh, castle wall that you had last time, but instead of the giant A high Frankenstein, you'd have me sit there. Or you could have a replica of me, like you did the replica of the A high Frank. You could have a replica of me, or maybe I'd be at a table, like have a replica of the Basement of Horror. I'd be like going like this, like Basement of Horror. What would it take to get me there? Uh, I don't know. See what's going on with my cat because I'm concerned about just making sure he gets his medicine every day. That's kind of why I'm stuck at home. I'm scared to leave the house for more than a day or so because I'm thinking because I give him medicine every day. Well, how about a final round of questions, and then we'll wrap it up. So, get in your last questions. What do you have? If you're still out there, last call. Who would win, Christopher Lee or Bela Lugosi? Like fighting each other? I think Christopher Lee would win. He's ferocious, and I think Lugosi's Dracula is more gentlemanly. And Lugosi would stand there in a very regal way, and he would be elegantly saying some kind of a bit of Transylvanian wisdom, and he wouldn't half get it out of his mouth before Christopher Lee would just come and just tear him up. So, I mean, doesn't mean I prefer Christopher Lee. I do like him a lot, but if you're going to have a fight between them, I think that Christopher Lee would probably win. Non-horror toy lines I collected for money was no object. Well, I used to have a big Mego superhero collection, so I might rebuild that. But I'm really into James Bond, so I probably would have a James Bond collection. Like all that 60s James Bond stuff. Strangely, I'd probably be into Sesame Street, and Muppets in like only strictly 1970s, nothing later. 1970s Sesame Street and Muppets. So those are two things that come to mind. Do I have the Burger King monster toys? You're talking about those are a long time ago, like 20 years ago, right? Or at least. Yeah, I've got those. Yeah. Oh yeah, my avatar. Yeah, I don't. No one ever mentions that. I've always wondered if anyone even pays attention to that or what they think that is. But obviously, that's Majika and me. Yeah. So no one's ever asked about like who's that person in your avatar. No one's brought that up. It's been my avatar for years and years and years since I started on YouTube. If I could own a movie prop, what would it be? Huh. I don't really have a big passion for props. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, if I were a multimillionaire, I guess I would have some golden age props, but I'm not going to have like the Willis O'Brien miniatures from King Kong and Peter Jackson and Bob Burns as that. But you're saying if money ever no object, I mean, I guess that would be. But I think they're good where they are. I think Peter Jackson and Bob Burns are the proper places for those items. So I wouldn't want to take those something that's maybe a little more realistic. I don't know why, but I really like the blue boxes from Mulholland Drive. If you've seen that movie, there's a little blue box, and I don't know how many they made, but they made a few props for the film. So I don't know what it would cost to buy one. I don't know if they ever turn up, but one of those screen used blue boxes from Mulholland Drive. I just have, I don't know, that's something I've thought of. If I were going to buy a movie prop, I don't know what that would cost, but it seems like maybe it would be achievable. I mean, how much would that? That's not going to go for millions of dollars. How much would that go for? I don't know. Maybe more than I think. I don't know. Let's see. Thank you, Salvage Monster. Thank you. Yeah, I wish there were Curse of the Werewolf licensed toys. There really isn't a licensed Curse of the Werewolf toy. There's a couple of unlicensed things, but not no licensed ones, and some custom toys. Adam, yeah, I do a Krampus event every December. Um, yeah, I do plan on doing. So I did it last December after a break for COVID. I brought it back last December, the Krampus event, and I'll do it. I guess this December. I haven't canceled it. So, but trying to do a video, I'm too busy at that event to even think about trying to do a video. I need someone else to do that. Uh, so I don't know. I'm not going to hire anyone to do that. I don't, and there's no one locally who would really be interested in that. But yeah, it'd be nice, I guess, to do an episode on that. But I can't. I'm dressed up like a Krampus, so I can't really take that off and you know host a episode while I'm doing that. But yeah, I mean that's an idea. But I think I need help with that to have someone else shoot it. Uh, Eric, when is the Raymond Castelmico figure coming out? That's not coming out. Yeah, Justin, I'm going to revisit Azrac, Hanway, Lincoln, Tomlin. I will go over those again in the future. Gareth, Christopher Lee was an alpha male. Yeah, yeah, uh, yeah. I think his Dracula would have knocked out Bela's Dracula. Uh, Silencio from Mulholland Drive. Am I still going to the Toyman show? No, I went there for that video they did. I haven't been back since. Or no, I did go back once. I did go back once. But it's not someplace I'd go regularly. Justin, well, yeah, it'd be nice to get more people into it. I don't know anyone watching this who's like, who is this guy with a cold? Why am I going to watch this? Uh, yeah, I don't know how to get more people into it. I think that if you want to, Justin, I don't know what your formula is, but from what I've seen, if you want a bunch of subs on YouTube and a bunch of views, you got to be young, beautiful, and project material success in some way. That's what I see. And talk real fast. Be really loud and really loud, really fast, and project a kind of materialistic success and be young and beautiful. If you've got all that, you're going to have 1 million subscribers and you're going to be doing really good. I'm this old weird guy, like, just look at me. So I'm not that. I don't like lots of fast talking on YouTube. It bugs me. So no, I don't think I'm ever going to have 1 million subscribers, or probably won't even have 10,000. But that's just the way it is. Oh, Gold Bug. No, I never saw that one. I've read the Gold Bug. I've never seen the production. Thanks, Paul. Okay, so I think it's time to wrap it up. I'm going to. Oh yeah, negativity will get subscribers for sure. If I and I'm angry at a lot of stuff. I could sit here and just rail against everything, and I'm sure I would get a lot of subscribers just want to hear someone validate their anger, but eh, I don't know. That's not me. I don't want that doesn't fit what I'm doing. So nah, I don't think I'm going to be doing that. Dead of Night, the 1962 Russian movie Amphibian Man. You know what? I have seen that, believe it or not. Yes, I've seen that. I don't think it's very much like Shape of Water. I think that's been overblown. I think the resemblance has been exaggerated. All right, good night. Okay, I think I'm going to wrap this up. So it's 2.5 hours. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for tolerating my medical condition. I don't know what this is going to be like on a replay, like someone watching this months from now. Like, how weird that this guy is sitting there with a cold doing this, but oh well, it is what it is. Thanks everyone for being here. I appreciate your time. Appreciate the questions. Have a good night or a good day wherever you are. Have a good rest of the summer. Go to the Basement of Horror Facebook group and post some things and have a discussion there. Like, I'm just sort of there to moderate. It's you're supposed to be doing the posting in that group. So post some stuff, have fun, talk to each other. There's a whole lot of great people in that group. Get into discussions. Thanks a lot. Goodbye. And I will see you soon.